As he maybe he's pulled his hand away and everyone's pulling away. If he doesn't pull away, then we'll see. Okay, he's waving his hand a bit more. I don't know if that car...
Yep, 27, it is Trevor Fisk, yes.
It seems that car's maybe stalled on the line. Yep, that car is not getting away under its own power. But they'll throw the yellow flag out, and the fire and safety vehicles at the back end of the grid will just try and give him a push and see if they can get Trevor Fisk up and running once again.
Oh, let's see, they're going to push that car off the grid, yeah. That's a pity for that one.
So that bet is out of the picture, it seems.
Yeah, well, that bet, somebody's 10K is safe.
Absolutely. And Louis Powell just gets to race at the front of the field once again. So I think there's a bit of a breath of fresh air for Mr. Walker.
Yes, Michael Walker.
So that's one car down under the 35 that was set to run through this grid. With a couple of others, I think we see Arnold Lambert, who wasn't out in race number 1 in the fine cars. He's out in that beautifully prepared white, orange, and red Scirocco.
Oh,
and then obviously the Stingray.
I was going to say, we stick to that shot, you would just see the fine cars coming through the background. But we'll stay with them here as they make their way up the straight, the Tygerberg straight, towards turn 4. Now, I was thinking Golden Highway, but that's no Golden Highway today with this cloud cover that we've got over Kalani.
That's the grey highway, if anything, Frank.
Oh, it is indeed, eh? So there you see that lovely Scirocco in the hands of Arnold Lambert. He's at the back of this fine car field, led there by Lambert and by Becker. Then we've got Tischendorf, and you just pick up the red and yellow Scirocco there in the hands of Arnold Lambert.
And then someone we forgot about, sorry Justin Brown in an Austin Healey Sprite. We don't see those often, but when we do, I believe there was a green one that used to race here.
Yes.
With the likes of, who ran the Morgan? Mr. Alexander.
Dave Alexander.
Dave Alexander ran the Morgan. Obviously Roger Lewis isn't here in the MG. But here we go, race number 2 for the Lauda Classics and the Caltron Fine Cars. Trevor Monberg leads them away. The lights are on, the lights are off, and away we go for race number 2. There's a massive turbo. I think it's one of the Mazdas. And it's Pierre Vialot that's slowing right in the middle of the field. Is there a problem for the rotary?
That was, I think, the rotor that said no more, because he's slowing right down. And that is not what a rotor must sound like. And yeah, he's in trouble. That was the rotary motor that maybe one of those seals that's...
It's self-away, and he will just keep to the side. He'll pull off. But just like this, yeah, that car is revving in its own, so maybe something wrong with the gears or the clutch or something like that, and he can't get into gear right. But now, just watching, there's the mid-pack, the likes of Fadi Mouton, there's the Galaxy, there's Jan Kukumur, Dave Rowley, they go through, there's Forbes in the Stingray. There is Pfeiffer. Then we jump back to the front as they come to complete their first racing lap.
All right, here we go. It's Trevor Monberg. Right behind him is Louis Powell. Then it's Brian Evans, Wayne Rosser. He's right there as well. Michael Hitchcock will round off that lot. Here comes that big V8 Mustang. Then we've got Wayne Lotter. Wayne Lotter's the next man through. Behind him is Lane Hutchings. Behind Lane Hutchings is Ian Richards. Followed there by Bruce Evan Taplin. That's just a few of them that is heading.
He's got the likes likes of Trevor Hutchings and Fadi Mouton to get past. But there we see Lane doing incredibly in his father's Scirocco. But here, look at the front of this field. It's Escort versus Capri. And just like that, Mr. Louis Powell of the Bull Bar himself is leading out this Classics race.
When last has Louis Powell led a race? I don't want to jinx this one, but here comes Trevor Momberg at him once again. Remember, that Capri has got the legs and he takes that lead away there from Louis. Louis fights back. Louis fights right back again, does Louis Powell, and Michael Hitchcock is right in there. Wayne Rosser is in that fight as well. Here comes Brian Evans. Brian Evans behind the four of them, heading towards us. And right there with them.
But the dice is still on between Louis Powell and Trevor Momberg. Wayne Ross is not that far behind.
Well, here we go as that is that little group that you see racing down towards turn number 5, towards Fostron. Louis Powell sits there ahead of Trevor Momberg, but the man that's in front is Michael Hitchcock. From Powell, from Momberg, from Rosser. That sits out there in P1 with that lovely Ford Mustang. That's Hitchcock. Louis Powell is there in that second spot. Here comes Louis Powell. He's been kept honest there by the Capri of Trevor.
unfortunately, as we see the leader, Michael Hitchcock, come around the final corner. I saw the Galaxy. We saw the Galaxy running an incredible race, has pulled into the pits, and that'll be that for that 6.9 litre Galaxy. But there comes Hitchcock. Where he was fighting there with Ian Richards and Bruce Evan Taplin. So we've lost the Scirocco, unfortunately, after running an incredible race. But there you see your leader, Mr. Michael Hitchcock of Cape Cross Forklifts. Maybe I've said that wrong. But the Mustang leading out. That 67 hasn't put a foot wrong in race number 2. He passes Natasha Tischendorf. There's Dewald Lambert, the leader of the fine cars, I believe, at the moment. Here he comes. Michael Hitchcock will take race number 2's victory by quite a considerable...